moving along in the agenda, there are a couple things I'd like to point out, or I'd like to just lay some groundwork. So we're going to have a discussion on the petition warrant article number 18, which essentially is a vote by citizens petition to include public input at the start and the end of each meeting. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask, to the public to provide input and to please share with the council and the public why this is a good idea. There's going to be two parts of public comment. The first one is going to be on this topic only, and then we'll open up public comment will remain open and talk about other items that you desire. That being said, I'm not going to allow people to come up a second time during that same period of public comment. So once we let me explain that a little bit better. So you can come up, the public can provide input on Article 18, and then we'll have the general public comment for public comment. And but there will be no coming up twice. You can come up twice once for each individual thing, but not twice in each individual. Being that, if there's anyone that would like to speak regarding the petition warrant article number 18 only. And if I can, please come up. If I could just ask that all public comment please gets directed through the chair. Thank you. Name and address, miss.
My name is Deborah Paul. I live at 118 Hardy Road, and I am the person who submitted this petition. I went out and I gathered almost 50 signatures. I think it was like 48 for this petition. I also had done 4 other petitions, 3 which would be gathered together, like I said to you guys at deliberative. And I'm not really even quite sure why we're having this discussion as to see why it's important. It's important because the people voted on it. And people took the time to sign the petition to put it on the ballot. The 3 that I think they could be done very easily, which would be doing the will of the people, are the 3 that have to do with, and I'm sorry if I'm a little nervous tonight, I just have a lot on my mind, so please understand that. I forgot my train of thought. So the first petition, and I don't remember which article it was, the numbers, so again, forgive me. The first one was to have public comment at the beginning and end, which was an idea I got from you, the chair, Chad. I'm sorry.
That's fine.
I'm not doing well today. So that was a great idea because people come up and say things, but as the meeting goes on, topics get brought up, and you have a question about what was brought up, or you have input or some knowledge about something that could help. So you wouldn't have to wait 2 weeks to come back to a meeting to talk about something. It's a discussion, like you're saying, you want a discussion. That means a dialogue, a back and forth of what's going on. And that's where you find great ideas. And that is why I put that out there, because lots of times, for example, when we had the meeting on a Saturday for the Lions Hall, there was a gentleman at the end who wanted to say something, and he couldn't. And I'm not sure if he went up to you guys, but he was like, I would do half of that work for free. So that is important, to get those people up and talking and volunteering and doing stuff in our community. The second part of the second one was that all meetings are recorded.
So
why are we discussing multiple articles?
Thank you.
Because
Ms. Paul, we are...
Okay, I'll stick to this one. I was trying to make it easy so I don't have to come back here all the time and say these things. Number one, people voted for this one in particularly overwhelmingly. I don't know why you would want to squash public's opinion. To listen to people, that's your job, to listen to them. And the other thing is, it seems to me that all the other warrant articles passed, and nobody asked the question as to, why did you approve? Why was it a good idea to approve those extra firefighters? Why was it a good idea to do this or a good idea to do that? I've never heard that before in my life in the town of Londonderry. So for 24 years that I've been watching this and following it and writing about it, and even when I was on the council, did I ever hear anybody say that? Why is that a good idea? Or why is that a bad idea? The fact is the people voted for it, and that's all there is to it. My question is whether or not you guys are going to do something and change it like you were going to do with the town treasurer. You were just going to change if it had passed, it would have just changed. People voted. Yeah, if they had voted yes, you guys would have just changed it in the charter to accommodate the voters. But that's not what happened. This is people voted, and you guys can accommodate every single one of those things in the charter to make it mandatory for all boards and committees to do this. Now, I will briefly, and I know this is kind of weird, talk about planning board and ZBA. I understand they're pseudo-judicial, they're judicial, and there are things that cannot be talked about in planning. And all of that would be having a small brief that the chair would say prior to the meeting at public comment, like you just did. For example, the chair would say, this is public comment. Please come up and bring anything you want.
30 seconds left, ma'am.
I would hope you'd grace me some period to speak tonight.
Please continue.
Please. I'm asking you nicely.
Please continue.
Thank you. Now I forgot my whole train of thought. So you guys could do this. So planning could come and say, you can talk about containers on front lawns, you can talk about setbacks, you can talk about easements, you could bring up chickens if you wanted to again, just different topics that have to do with planning, right? You just can't talk about active plans or anything like that. So I guess I'm just not sure why you guys don't want to just move this forward and why you guys are having this discuss. I'm just trying to understand it. Right. I feel like...
Can you please start wrapping up your comments?
I'm trying to.
Thank you.
I just feel that change is good, change is welcoming, and there is nothing wrong with having a public comment at a beginning and an end. It's not like the rooms are going to be crowded with people and your meetings are going to go so long because of it. And I think you even said it, Chad. You had them and hardly nobody spoke. So if nobody hardly shows up and speaks, what's the fear of having it?
All right. Thank you. All right, folks, any other public comment on this item only? Name and address. You have 5 minutes, sir.
I won't take me 5 minutes. Daniel Bouchard, 8 O'Connell Drive, Londonderry. As somebody who comes to a lot of these meetings, I'm not opposed to having it at the end, because sometimes you hear these discussions, especially like around the budget time, and you're discussing stuff, and you don't have a chance to say anything until the following meeting, which is kind of 2 weeks sometimes or a week later. So I don't think allowing people just to comment at the end would be a bad thing. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Name and address, please.
Ann Champa, 28 Wedgewood Drive. I thought about this before I voted, and I think I just don't understand why there's pushback from the council about this. That's what it seems to the public, like you don't believe it should happen. You want us to, express our opinions about what had happened. We did when we voted. We obviously did when we voted. we said that we wanted a change. We shouldn't have to be interrogated for you to learn why. John?
Excuse me.
Okay, well,
Please make comments directed to the chair and to the chair only.
oh, okay. But anyways, the people voted, 2/3 of them voted for this. And I just wish maybe more people would be here if it was listed as on the agenda as concerning this topic and not just the number of the warrant article. So that might be bringing different opinions into this room. If in the meeting agenda, it just gives a hint of what the topic is about. Because most people wouldn't look at that. If they see Article 17 or 18, they wouldn't know what it was. But if you put what it's about, you might get more of an audience and not the same people over and over who are dedicated to coming to meetings because we feel it's our public duty. I want to thank you for giving us the chance to speak tonight. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Mr. Chair, just by way of clarification, so I actually did add language to the title of the article. I added the words public input, and then the entire article is included in the packet for
The
everybody's
agenda
information. Correct.
packet?
Yes.
Thank you. Name and address, please.
Martha Smith, 38 Shasta Drive. I kind of agree with what's been said prior. The town council is elected by the people in this town to serve the people in this town. And frequently, I've seen, since I've started attending these meetings, that there are items that come up during discussion that, boy, I would have said something about that during public comment if I had known that that was going to be said. So I think having a short period of comment at the end of a meeting would be something that could benefit the community. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, if I may.
I'd like to continue with the public, if that's all right,
Sure.
please. And then
Sounds good.
we'll save the councils for after. Thank you for your understanding. Name and address, sir.
Tony DeFrancesco, 1 Cheshire Court. I think the all part of this advisory warrant article is problematic. I think some is possible. All is not possible. In this chambers, for these meetings, can be done quite easily. However, I do want to say that when you start cherry picking the Bible of Londonderry, which is the town charter, the charter is the document that you read, you follow, and it's the marching orders, basically. When you start cherry picking parts of a document like that, you start to diminish the value of the whole. It's almost like the bottom of a stream that's running pretty rapidly. You look on the top and it's very smooth, and you say, how can it be smooth? And it's because on the bottom of the stream, all the rocks are all annealed together. Over time, they've all whittled their way down, and it's nice and smooth. So when you're rowing your canoe, on the top, it's nice and smooth. You start to pull rocks off, and the top of that stream gets all bumpy and wavy, and it's hard for someone like me that doesn't canoe very well to navigate. And I want to leave you with that vision in your head to understand that if you're going to start doing this, that you're going to run into problems, unanticipated problems, things that you didn't mean to do, unintended consequences when you start pulling things out. And so what I would think is a better idea if you're thinking of moving forward with any of this, is that you just open up the whole charter. Have a charter review. Have a charter committee. And open up the whole thing all at once, make all the corrections that need to be made, get the public input on what they think needs to happen, and now you will come back to a very smooth river to canoe on. I hope I made sense. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public? All right, seeing none, I'm going to open it up to the council for discussion.
I'd just like to say that I'm in full support of public comment at the beginning and the end. I tried to adopt it back in March and was told that we didn't want to do it as a council, but I am in full support of it. I don't see there any fear of the town council doing it. We could be the trial for the rest of the community. The voters did speak. They want us to do it. So I'm in full favor of the town council doing it at the beginning and the end, and I see no reason why we can't do that as a board and vote on it.
So I'd like to say I can see how people in the town would feel that we voted on this and it didn't immediately get put in. Sometimes things with legal aspects, you have to actually look through and make sure, A, there's not unintended consequences, B, it's legal. And 3, some of these would involve charter changes, which equals we'll have a 2-year process to go down this, maybe. So these do take a little bit of thought. I would like to say, though, I fully support each and every one of these. I support the will of the people that we voted on and try to get this through. And I also would support putting public comment at the end for town council meetings.
Any other councilors?
So just address one thing, 2 things actually. Articles 1 through 16 had multiple hearings, multiple public hearings, multiple discussions. The petition warrant articles had no hearings, no public hearings, no discussion, and received little legal review. So why did 1 through 16 go forward? Because we had multiple hearings, multiple discussions, multiple public hearings. With regards to this, I'm in favor of opening the charter. Open it up completely. But that's not a decision we make lightly, nor do you make a decision lightly about public comment. The purpose of listening to the people is that this is the first time there's a discussion about these warrant articles. There was never a discussion before. So now we're having one. Let's see where it goes.
My only thoughts were is that all these items had to be legally done, would have had to have actually opened the charter and had charter changes. And that how they were put forward, we cannot legally change them. They're only advisory. So that is why we are discussing them right now, to hear people's thoughts, as John had said.
All right, so I agree with what John had said, regarding public hearings and comment and diving into things. So by law, because we have the required number of signatures from registered voters in the town, the council voted, again, by law, to put this on the ballot, as we did. This is the first true opportunity, not to challenge what is being said, not to challenge what is voted upon by the voters or the body or the registered voters of town, but to have a discussion. I don't have a problem continuing this discussion if that's what the council wants to do, consensus from the council. But there are, as Shawn said, as Councilor Farrell mentioned, there's a process, there's a way to do this. And this is, in my 1 of 5 opinion, the first step of that. So what does the council want to do?
Go to the next warrant article at the next meeting. Go through the process. Opening the charter is a monumental task. If you actually implement these things and you actually read how the charter works, these become what they call major changes. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. The state's not going to let us do major changes without opening the charter. Let's go through the articles and explore if that's what needs to be done. You can't make a decision. It's like kind of like a doctor looking at, trying to figure out what's wrong with you. They send you for more tests. We need to do more tests and then find out, what the solution is. and then try to make a good decision.
So if I hear you correctly, I believe what you're saying is gather all the facts for all of this, because opening the charter is monumental. And therefore, if we have all the facts, then we can make the best decision, because you can't cherry pick the certain things. If we're going to open it up, might as well open it all the way up.
Hey, you know, it hasn't been fully open since 1996. I'm not opposed to it.
I think, though, we could do something towards this, towards the intent of this, and have public comment for us as a body.
Then you need a public hearing, and you need 3 meetings to get it done.
In order to.
You're changing the rules and the procedures of the town council.
Okay.
Let's do it.
So that, well, Ron, my point is by the time you do that, we could get through all these questions, and then go ahead
Do it all at
and
once.
then try to figure out what to do instead of picking them off one at a time. You could have one public hearing to do 5 to see if you want to do 2 things or 3 things, or have one public hearing to open the charter. You know, I'm gonna have surgery and operate on you tomorrow, but I'm not gonna look at the X-ray. I mean, you're triaging. Get all the information so we do it right and do it one time.
Okay.
Makes sense.
So again, I wanted to reiterate that this is not the challenge. This is to explore and solicit more feedback and to hear from the body that voted on this. So with that, I'll open continue to keep public comment open for general topics.